Our flag means death. Season 2. Yep, we got it. We finally got it. There was a minute there where it felt like this wasn't gonna happen, and that was a pretty bad time just because a lot has happened in like the 18 months since the first season came out. You know, favor has turned on Taika Waititi. We're not really excited for his new stuff anymore. There's an actor strike. Warner Brothers Discovery HBO Max completely fell apart. And it didn't feel like the vibe was going for original content like this, which was kind of scary because the first season, a really good time, and had so much to say, was such like a queer positive show, just had this idea of gender identity that was so different and poignant and pleasant compared to other shows. It was just, these are really fun pirates that we like, and I wanted to see more from it. And now we can. A season 2 is out. It's 8 episodes long, which this isn't the place to have that conversation. But this just made me nostalgic for times where we'd have 13 episodes in a season. We don't even do that anymore. We get 8 or 10 or 6. I'm really tired of this, you know? I hope the trend can turn back to 13, to 15, to 20. Could you imagine if we had 20 episodes of a show anymore? We do sometimes. It's neither here nor there. But Our Flag Means Death. It has returned, and it returned with a bang. I think this season is going to feel the ramifications of not having its actors promote it, because it kind of just came out. And it could have dominated October, being like the big show to talk about on Max, being this thing everybody wants to see. But it's just kind of secretly like slept in there, introduced you to new characters, and didn't really like appear to be the big talking point anymore, which is a shame because it's such a strong show. It has so many interesting things to say, and it's just positive on a level that is hard to aspire to. And it's a really cool thing to see. This is such like a positive show. Everything, it can be dark, it can be bleak, it can have very traumatic and cataclysmic events happen. But these characters like each other, they love each other, they support each other. There is both a series of romantic entanglements, of platonic entanglements, and you just love to see these people vibing together, getting along, loving each other, supporting each other on a grandiose scale. It's such a nice thing to see. It's so pleasant, it is so positive, it is very queer positive, which is such a cool thing to see on a show of this scale. It is just this love story about two men on a small scale and a large scale. And it's such a unique experience. And it's not just like, oh, they find each other again and everything's okay. There are hardships, they go through it. They learn how to work together in their relationships, what need to change from the other people. It's very impressive to see that. And a show like this too, dealing with the identity of like gender fluidity and all that kind of stuff, it's so fun. It's doing it in such a nice, easy way that it doesn't feel like it's annoying or crass. It's just, these are things that are happening. They're pirates, they love each other, they like looking good, they like having a fun time, and they support that. Everybody is back having a great time doing some fun stuff. In an era where Taika Waititi is no longer, the prodigal son of television or movies, it is really nice to see him stick the landing in a character where the thing he can do might be a lot sometimes, just allowing himself to be engrossed in a script, engrossed in another director's vision. It really benefits his stuff because when he's not controlling everything himself, he's allowed to get lost in a bit more and not have it be like he's talking about himself or anything. That was really well. He is still a very talented guy on this show and has proven himself to be fantastic. Rhys Darby, another one of those, you don't know what you're going to get from him this season because where we left Stede was in such an interesting place, and coming back to this season, where is he going to go? What's his journey going to be? He goes through a lot. There is a little bit of this where Rhys does take the back seat and Stede Bonnet is not like the central character, but it's kind of grown larger than him. It's now about like the family he's built because this entire season is kind of about the adopted family you get and finally professing those ideas of love, both romantic and platonic. And it's such a beautiful way to interpret that. They have great chemistry together. They're old friends. Of course they do. The standout to me this season was Con O'Neill as Izzy Hand. he just really found the footing this season. They put him through the ringer. He is given a lot to do, and he holds it together really well and manages to do something fun. And all of the supporting cast, they are so enjoyable to watch. Everybody is firing on all cylinders, having the time of their lives. It's one of those shows where you're watching the chemistry and you're just like, I wish I could see some interviews or behind the scenes stuff showing the interactions of this cast. They all clearly love each other. They all clearly get along. It's so nice to see that, and the sincerity that comes with it. We are introduced to a couple of new characters, kind of like flesh out the larger world of pirates. We are introduced to the Pirate Queen. She is played by Rubo Kwan, who, I love her. I love the Pirate Queen. I really responded to everything she was doing. I'm like, this is a good performance, so much fun. And more notable characters like Anne Bonny appear. If you've seen this channel before, you're probably aware that Anne Bonny is my favorite of those legendary pirates. And what they do with her in this season is it's a really good use of the parallel between the things going on with Ed and Stede with her relationship with Mary. It's really fun to see that. I love it. It's so cool. Would have been nice to have more Anne Bonny, but I get it. You know, that's not what this show's about. We have highs, we have lows, we get a little ethereal at times, a little more mystical, but it all works out in the end to something truly magical and special. This is one of those shows that knows how to use its budget well. It looks expensive, it looks insane, and maybe that expense might be why we're not going to get another season. It's still kind of up in the air at this point. I could see how this wouldn't happen, but this is your what we do in the shadows. Like, you have the built-in audience to tell this specific a story. You should play with that. You should try to lean into that a little bit more, do something a little more special, and maybe they will. But we're on real sets of ships. We got real intense costuming. We're doing something great here, and the jokes are funny, and everything is just landing together. It is a little bit more of an improvement from the first season. We know the tone we're striking now. We know the jokes we want to tell. We figured it out. It's a romance story about two guys who act on a whim and don't really know how to be in a moment and be zenful of that moment they're in. And that's what this entire season's about. Along the way, we see our friends having fun, being supportive of each other, enjoying each other. It's beautiful. It's romantic. It's classic television. And the problem with everything going on in today's climate means this show just doesn't get the recognition it deserves. Because this should be like an awards darling. It should be one everyone's talking about. But it becomes just another thing in the Max machine that can't be talked about. I haven't really seen them promoting it either. And you're like, Taika Waititi is still a name. He's still a huge producer on this show. He's the star. You'd think there'd be a bigger push with him alone. Yes, we're out of favor with him at the moment, but this could bring him back into prominence. You know? It's just sad that something this pleasant and supportive of the LGBTQ community just doesn't get the recognition it deserves. But it's a great show. Everyone's having fun. It's so well written. It's a beautiful look at love and chemistry between people, and if you haven't watched it yet, the first 2 seasons are on Max. They're really good. They're really strong. It's a really fun show. And worth every second. Worth every second. So, Our Flag Means Death Season 2, I am going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.